Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My series is called The Leadership Whisperer with me, Dr. Perkins. And today's topic is very important. It's called the Great Leadership Reset. It's critical as leaders that we reset periodically. I'm recommending every 3 months, quarterly, we do a leadership reset, or I guess I can say a leadership audit. So, leadership reset, leadership audit, whatever name you wish to use, where we're looking at our leadership. My three simple questions that I use to help me during my leadership audit or reset is what's working, what's not working, and what needs immediate attention. Just those three simple questions can get you a lot of quantitative and qualitative information to help you refine your leadership. In between that, weekly reflection. Reflection. Again, the whole thing with reflection and resetting or auditing is just to keep evolving as a leader, keep improving, pushing away those bad habits, and bringing in new habits that help you just be an excellent leader, because your mind and your body have to be at 100% in order for you to really challenge and be innovative with your team. Let's get into it. Okay, I'm going to start with a story like I always do. If you haven't heard of this gentleman, please go to YouTube and look him up. Gino Oriyama. Gino Oriyama. This gentleman is the gold standard in college basketball Division One women's. Actually, he's has the most wins among both men and women's Division One college basketball programs. He's been UConn's or University of Connecticut's coach for 40 years. If you look at his record, I'm going to pull up his work here. Yeah. 12 national championships, folks. 12. Not one, not five, not nine, 12 national championships. 25 Final Four appearances, multiple undefeated championship seasons, four consecutive national titles from 2013, all the way through 2016. Their most recent championship in 2025. They were in the Final Four in 2026, but lost in the Final Four. Just a man, a coach, a leader of excellence. Level of practice, if you see that right there in the middle of the screen, Coach Oriyama makes sure every single practice is practiced at a championship level. In other words, he believes when you practice, you should be practicing as if the next day is the championship game. Every single practice. If it's regular season, we're going to practice like the championship is the next day. That's his challenge, his push for his team to get to excellence. And he has a great track record, 12 national championships. So I encourage you to go to YouTube, check him out. He has a lot of inspirational, motivational, wisdom type videos. They're shorts. Gino Oriyama, UConn or University of Connecticut. And my question to you leaders, what is your level of practice? What is your level of practice with your team? Is it at a low level, medium level, or the highest level? You have to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. And if it's not at the highest level, how can you get it to the highest level? Is that attending workshop, conferences, webinars? Is that leaning on your mentors a little bit more? Putting together an action plan, which is a short-term plan, a strategic plan, which is a long-term plan to get to that level and make sure you sustain that level. So think about in your reflection, what is my level of practice for myself and my team? All right, let's get into it. I'm going to enlarge this a little bit here. Three things I'm going to talk about today. How to identify the hidden leadership habits keeping you and your team stuck. The next one, why emotional intelligence is becoming the ultimate leadership advantage in modern organizations. And the final one I'm going to talk about today is practical ways to reset your leadership approach to create that stronger trust, clarity, and impact. Okay, let's go to the first one here. Let's identify some hidden leadership habits keeping you and your team stuck. So that means we're looking for habits that are not good, that are bad. All this talk about AI, it has its time and place. I'm not going to badmouth it. I think it has its positives, but it also has its negatives. The best tool you can use, you ready for this, leaders? The best tool you can use is a plain piece of paper. That's the best tool out there. Why? Because you can put a line right down the middle and find out what's working, what's not working. What are my bad habits? What are my good habits? And so on and so forth. All you need is a plain piece of paper, put a line down the middle, and you look at what you wrote down. And you have to be honest. That's how you improve. It's going to be uncomfortable, and that's where you want to be for that growth, that leadership growth. So let's look at some negative habits that in my 33 years in leadership, I picked these three, and I could have picked 300, but I picked these three to focus on for tonight. All right, let me enlarge this here. First one, reacting versus responding, doing everything, and opportunities. So what I'm going to do for this one here is I'm going to read out of my chapter 3 of my newest book, On Lead to Lead Better, the Emotional Intelligence Advantage in Modern Leadership. The book is about on leading to lead better integrating emotional intelligence, and I'll introduce emotional intelligence shortly. So this is chapter 3. I'm just going to kind of go over what reacting versus responding is for leadership. Leadership demands that you give everything, and once you do, it often asks for more. That is where the greatest leaders are revealed. Great leaders understand the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is emotional, impulsive, and often driven by ego. Responding is thoughtful, disciplined, and rooted in emotional intelligence, particularly self-awareness and self-regulation. All right, let me read the reflection section in chapter 3. Again, we're talking about reacting versus responding. I'm going to give you an example. A parent once conducted a simple experiment in their home. They placed a strip of transparent tape across the midsection of an interior doorway. Then they called their 2 toddlers into the living room. As the toddlers entered the doorway, both walked straight into the tape and bounced back. One toddler immediately began to cry. The other paused. Instead of reacting emotionally, the second toddler stood still and examined the situation. After a few moments, the solution oriented toddler lowered to the ground, crawled under the tape, and successfully entered the living room. Watching this unfold, the crying toddler stopped, adjusted, and followed the same path. The lesson is powerful. One toddler reacted, the other responded. In leadership, obstacles are inevitable. The tape represents resistance, barriers, criticism, and unexpected change. Reactive leaders collide with adversity and respond with frustration, blame, or panic. Self regulated leaders pause, they assess, they manage their emotions before choosing their actions. So, from the excerpt I read there, and giving you an example of toddlers, do you get where I'm coming from with reacting versus responding? When I work with a lot of leaders in that leadership development piece or leadership coaching, I find most of my leaders are reacting. They're not taking the disciplined time to pause, assess, and respond. And that's what I'm asking you. If you're not there with that, to start doing that. And this doesn't have to be a massive plan. It just has to be a commitment, a disciplined thought daily that instead of me reacting, getting frustrated, making remarks I shouldn't, step back, pause, assess, and then plan. Plan a great action plan. That means short term, or a great strategic plan means long term. Do as much co creating with your teammates so they own it, they're part of it, and you guys move forward together. Next one, doing everything. When I work with leaders, they want to save the world. And I get it because I was a school superintendent and everything was on my shoulders. And that's the concern I hear from the leaders. Well, everything is on my shoulders. I have to deliver. So I have to do everything. And I'm like, time out. No, you don't. That's why you have team mates. Team mates. You train them up very well and you support them to death and you hold them accountable. You can let some of that go. You can let all of that power, that ego, that pride, drop it, shrink it, because you have to have your teammates to help you do everything. So leaders, the message, stop trying to save the world. Make sure you work with your teammates to deliver that result. You have to do that, because if not, your health is going to suffer. Your health is going to suffer. That's where the heart attacks come in, the strokes, the diabetes, the cancers, the high blood pressure, the high cholesterol. The list goes on and on. I've seen it all. I've retired now. I have friends who are still superintendents, and they don't look good. They're telling me they're having a lot of hospital visit, a lot of hospital visits. So just try. You can't do everything. Have that mindset of working with your team to work together to move the mission, what you do daily, and the vision, what you aspire to move those both forward together as a team. Together, when everyone achieves more. Last one, opportunities. Opportunities. Are you giving your teammates opportunities to learn and grow and to maximize their potential? Teammates don't want to be stuck in their positions forever. They want growth too. What opportunities are you giving them? I'm going to use kind of a faith based example. I'm not going to get churchy on you, but when you pray to your higher power and say, for example, you ask your higher power for courage, does the man upstairs give you courage, or does he give you opportunities to be courageous? Did you catch that? Does he give you courage, or does he give you opportunities to be courageous? Let's translate that to leadership. Does a primary leader give teammates opportunities to be courageous, to lead tasks, to lead projects, to stand out in front and shine? You don't have to be a leader that has to be out front. Everyone on your team is a leader. Everyone standing side by side. Yes, you're the primary leader, but everyone else is a leader in some capacity. In leadership, you never want followers. You don't want people behind you. You want people beside you, all of you walking towards the same mission and vision together. So, reacting versus responding, doing everything, and opportunities. Things to think about when it comes to resetting your leadership, having that great leadership reset. All right, let's enlarge this here. I'm going to go back and forth. Why emotional intelligence is becoming the ultimate leadership advantage in modern organizations. So here it is, folks. Emotional intelligence seems two big words, a little intimidating, a little uncomfortable. What is it? I'm not sure of this. I need to learn. So emotional intelligence is simple but effective. It consists of five components. Five components. Your base, your foundation is self-awareness. Are you self-aware as a leader about where your organization will be in 3 to 6 months, in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years? You should, because if you have a strong strategic plan that you're constantly working within, it will get you there. And you're constantly revisiting that strategic plan as you move through it. Typically, strategic plans are 3 to 5 years. I've worked with companies that wanted me to help them create a 1 to 3 year plan because they wanted to feel and see those wins and victories sooner. And I wrote it up with them, and we co-created. We put teams together. We brought in all the stakeholders, and we put together some fine strategic plans. And I love the 1 to 3 year plans because, again, you can see the wins, the victories, the movement, the progress. You can feel it sooner. Sometimes when you get a longer or strategic plan that's 3 to 5 years, it's hard to feel the progress. So that's something for you to say with your organization, if it's business or education, medical, etc. Do I want a strategic plan that's 1 to 3 years or one that's 3 to 5 years? That's up to you. Self-awareness is a big deal. I think self-awareness and communication are the number one issue with people. A lot of people are not self-aware. It's all about I deserve. It's all about me. You do you. That's the marketing out there in social media, the internet, and even you see that on the billboards right off the freeway. A lot of casinos do that. You do you. Come have fun. It's all about you. You deserve, and things of that nature. What we have to be self-aware of is that as of November of 2022, we've reached the 8 billion mark as far as the people population, the world population. We surpassed 8 billion people as of November 2022, and we're in 2026. So there's obviously more people. And self-awareness means we're important, and so is everyone else. And I'm asking people to be more conscious of your leadership And are you moving your team? Are you working together, co-creating, doing things bite size, not in big chunks? It confuses people, but bite size, so they can see it, feel it, and do it and accomplish it. And then you give them another bite-sized chunk to work with. So self-awareness is key. Self-awareness. And part of that self-awareness is leadership reset, meaning every 3 months you do a leadership reset. What's working, what's not working, what needs immediate attention, what my leadership. So I want you to think about that. Think about that. What self awareness can you bring to your leadership? Maybe you do something where monthly you have a theme for yourself. This month, I'm going to be self aware of we are communicating at a high level as a team, as an organization. Then you change the theme next month. This next month, we're going to be self aware that we are collaborating as a team. And you just work that commitment. Next one, self regulation focuses on controlling your emotions. Controlling your emotions. As leaders, leadership is situational. Good and bad happens. Sometimes good and bad happens in the same day, in the same hour, the same minute. And we have to learn to, what's that word? Oh, watch our face. Fix our face. Fix our face. Fix our face. Sometimes when we're disappointed, we give it away. We don't have a poker face, and we give that disappointment away with our facial expression. And you have to control that. You may have to smile, you may have to listen a little bit more, but you're disappointed inside. And then you work with the team to come up with solutions and fix that failure, that setback, that disappointment. So then you're smiling. So self awareness, self regulation, controlling your emotions are key to being an effective leader. It's very critical that you really focus in on those two: self awareness, self regulation. The next one, motivation. What are you doing as a leader to motivate your team? Because we get into a habit of identifying the bad, the wrong. The feedback is not always positive because we want things to go well. But we also have to top that input with a lot of motivation too. Yeah, we want to fix things and we need to give constructive, honest feedback, but we also want to motivate our team throughout. So are we recognizing them? Are we giving them some type of incentives? Some organizations allow their people to go out in the community and do community work for a day instead of sitting in the factory or at the desk. What things are you doing? Are they giving bonuses here and there? If you can't get bonuses, what motivation can you bring to the table to really show that you care and respect them? Because that's a lot of many teammates leave because they don't feel they're being heard, they're not being listened to, they don't feel they're being recognized, they don't feel that they're valued. So, what motivation can you bring to the table? The fourth emotional intelligent component is empathy. Empathy and sympathy are two different things, and people use them interchangeably. Empathy is feeling with people. They're sad, you're sad. They're crying, you're crying. They're happy, you're happy. Feeling with people, that's empathy. Sympathy is you feel for them. Oh, I'm sorry you're going through that medical setback. Is there anything I can do for you? Let me know. So, two different babies. They're in the same family, but two different babies. So, being an empathetic leader, when people are out, are you calling them? Hey, I heard you broke your leg. You're going to be out a week. Is there anything I can bring by your house? Or hey, we're thinking about you, or even just computer. Hey, we miss you, or putting something in their mailbox. Hey, welcome back. We hope you recovered well, and giving them a card with a $10 Starbucks uh, card in it, to gift card to just kind of cheer them up a little, to let them know you were thinking about them. So, what type of empathetic things can you do as a leader to insert that into your leadership? Then, lastly, social skills. Social skills, the final component of emotional intelligence. Social skills are collaboration, high communication, uh, conflict resolution, things along those lines. Do you bring to the table those social skills so when there's an issue, you are on top of it? You have those skills that you can introduce and lead your team through that storm. Let me give you an example of all five of these. So self awareness, self regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Just practicing them. Maybe 1 month you turn this into a theme. I'm practicing self awareness to be more of a self aware leader. The next month, self regulation, making sure I'm in tune with my emotions and I'm fixing my face when I need to. I'm being a little stern, but not disrespectful when I need to. Regulating your emotions when you need to. Motivation, making sure there's a lot of respect, dignity, and motivation going around on the team. Empathy, again, those feelings, looking for those different feelings within your team and reacting to them properly. And then, as I mentioned, the social skills. Um, that's again the high communication, collaboration, it's conflict resolution, things along those lines that you're able to bring to the table quickly and help solve a problem or lead a team through some type of issue. Bubba Wallace, he is a famous NASCAR driver and he's won some cup races. I think along 5, 6, or 7 cup races to this point in his career. He's been in the top 10 countless times as far as finishing in the top 10 of races he has been in. He's a very popular. His name is Bubba Wallace. Well, one time he's in this competition, and as usual, all cars from time to time have to go into the pit stop. What they do in the pit stop is they exit off and they go into a pit row, which is parallel to the track. And each driver has a station. He drives up to his station, and within 10 to 12 seconds, they change his tires, gas up his car, clean windshields, do anything possible to fix the car so it's running at its maximum speed. And again, they do it with all this within 10 to 12 seconds. Well, one time he pulls into pit row, goes to his station, his team jumps out, pounces on the car, they're doing everything, and he leaves. He doesn't wait for his team leader to give him the signal, but he leaves. Maybe he was anxious that day. Because he left early and they didn't finish doing the things they needed to do with the car, he got about 30 feet and one of his back tires fell off. Fell off. So he then had to, with 3 tires, turn into another station. It wasn't his. Remember, this is in pit row. Each car driver has a station. He turns into one of a station that's not his. And that team has a choice of saying, "You're not our driver. Too bad, so sad. We're not going to help you." Or they could be classy and professional and help him. They chose to be classy and professional. They went and got his tire, put it on, zip, 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 and got him out there. That is emotional intelligence. That team was self aware. Hey, we need to help a driver. We don't need to be competitive now. We don't need to be a-holes. We need to help others. And I wish leaders would do that. I see a lot of unnecessary competition in leadership. Why? 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 You know the biggest drugs in leadership? The 3 biggest drugs are ego, pride, and power. Drop them. Have a body of work that shines so bright they can't miss you when it comes to promotion, when it comes to a salary increase, when it comes to saying, yeah, we want to send that Perkins guy international to represent our company and to lead that project over in China or wherever. Base your leadership on your body of work, not being competitive. Please, please, please think about that and stop that if you're doing it. All right. So I gave you a quick little story. Oh, actually, let's go back to Bubba Wallace, getting off on a little tangent. So that pit crew who helped Bubba Wallace, it wasn't his pit crew, chose to be self-aware, self-regulating with their emotions. Again, they could have said no, but they said yes. They were classy and professional. They had motivation. That's going to help them when people talk about them. Oh, that team there, they helped another competitor. That's the talk you want. That's the talk you want. They were classy. They were professional. We know in the future they will help others. They had empathy. They felt with the driver. And those social skills they brought to the table, that discipline, that communication. Hey, let's help them out. That problem or what do you call it? Conflict resolution piece. Hey, we don't have to do this, but we will. We want to be just again, classy and professional. So I was a little all over the place there, but hopefully you got a taste of emotional intelligence. All right, here's some examples. A leader notices team burnout and adjusts, the workload. A leader notices team burnout and adjusts workloads. That's emotional intelligence, means self-aware. A teammate handles customer complaints calmly and respectful. That's self-regulation, regulating your emotions, fixing your face. Lastly, a leader gives feedback that is honest but supportive. Leaders give feedback to your team. They need to learn and grow and move forward too, like you. Teammates want feedback. They're a little nervous about it, but they want constructive, honest feedback so they can move forward in their position. They can improve, they can advance. That's what we want our teammates to do, to keep getting better and better and better. So, some examples. All right, lastly, practical ways to reset your leadership approach to create stronger trust, clarity, and impact. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this here. Okay, what are some more items we can put in our toolbox to help us out with that great leadership reset? Here we go. All right, 3 things I'm going to focus on here. The power of pause. What do I mean by that? The power of pause. What do I mean is learn to listen. When I work with hundreds of leaders, I would ask them many questions. How's your team doing with this? Where are they at with that? And they have no idea. I'm like, well, did you meet with your team and ask them? Yeah. Okay, what did they say? Gobbity goobly. You're not listening to them. A lot of leaders struggle with listening. What's funny is in college, in the world, they ask us to write and speak, right? Those are our communication tools. There's not a lot of classes on listening. Listening. Maybe that's why the man upstairs gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Now, I'm going to enlarge this because I want you to hear this, what I'm about to say. This is critical. The first bullet, you don't grow if you're hearing your own voice. You learn from listening. You don't grow if you're hearing your own voice. Did you get that? The second bullet, shut your mouth if you talk too much. Shut your mouth if you talk too much. You don't need to say everything you think. You don't need to react on everything you hear. You just don't. Pause. The power is in the pause. Leadership, listening is defined as giving your full attention. Get off that damn phone. In my office, if my phone rang, my cell phone rang, and someone was in front of me, I didn't even look at either. I looked straight at the people. Someone knocked on the door, I didn't even acknowledge the door. I focused on them. Half the time, we just kept talking. The other half, the person in front of me would say, don't you want to get the phone? Don't you want to answer the door? And I go, no, you're number one. You're most important to me right now. Do you think they appreciated that? Look at my head. Yes. So maybe one of the things you can focus on is that self-awareness piece of listening. Listening. Here's the, there we go. When I taught at Northern Arizona University, I was an assistant professor. Here is the gold standard in communication. You would think it's speaking, writing, reading. The standard here is, and these numbers here you're seeing in front of you, I'm going to say them out loud in a second, are the average amount of time people spend using this communication skill. This is the standard. So 9% is writing, 16% is speaking, 30% is reading, 45% is listening. Are you a listening leader? Again, that could be a self-awareness thing. Focus on listening better so you can really hear and work with your team. Really hear and work with your team. What research is showing, innovation-wise, listening surfaces hidden insights, untapped creativity, and alternative solutions. Also, as far as research and listening goes, retention and morale. What is your retention and morale in your organization? A major predictor of turnover is feeling that my leader doesn't listen to me. Have you heard that before? Have you said that before? So I want you to really think about Maybe being a self-aware leader and practicing listening for a month, if that's a weakness, a refinement you need to work on. 3 listening styles: reflective active listening. Sometimes you see it as reflective listening. Sometimes you see it in research as active listening. So reflective active listening is listening to understand. Listening to understand. And then summarizing or paraphrasing. Can I pause you, sir, ma'am? Did I hear you say A, B, or C? Am I correct? Great. Please keep talking. And it's best used for negotiation, feedback, coaching, etc. Reduces misunderstanding. Another style of listening is called critical listening. You're listening for accuracy. Is this true, false? Is this correct or incorrect? And you're not listening when you're listening critically to beat up people. You're listening to build up people. Maybe you hear something that's a little off, so you interject and go, "Hey, thank you for that stat there. I forgot to tell you that that went from 80% to 82% last week. So I just wanted to interject. My fault for not sharing that with you. You're doing a great job. Please keep going." That's what you're using listening for, not to beat up people, but to build up people. In critical listening, again, you're looking for accuracy, best used for reviewing proposals, assessing risk, evaluating new ideas. Strengths: helps leaders make sound judgments. And the last leadership style, empathetic listening. Empathetic listening. Again, you're feeling with that person. So empathy is feeling with that person. They're sad, you're sad. They're happy, you're happy. They're crying, you're crying. And the purpose is to understand emotions, experiences, and perspectives. Let's talk about perspectives real quick. I'm holding up a pen right here. This pen, we're talking about perspectives only. To an ant, this is huge. To an elephant, this is small. To a person, this is a resource, a very important tool. To the manufacturer, this is money, this is profit. You see the various perspectives just in looking at the pen, how different things, people, animals see things. That applies to leadership. Everyone has a different perspective. So it's very important that you're a high communicator as a leader so people can really shape the same perspective and work towards that same mission, that same vision in your organization. So empathetic listening, again, great for coaching conversations, conflict resolution, personal challenges, morale issues, builds trust. Those are 3 styles. All right, the final couple of things under leadership reset, the great leadership reset. Are you planting seeds within your organization? What the heck do I mean by planting seeds? This is not a garden here. When I say planting seeds, it's more of figuratively a metaphor. What are you doing with your teammates and yourself? So I'm going to enlarge this so you can see this because this is a great example I want to share with you. The planting seeds impact goes like this. One apple seed, when planted, grows 10,750 apples. One. I'm going to read that again. One apple seed, when planted, grows 10,750 apples. Take this 10,750 apples and open them up. You're going to get 86,000 seeds. Remember, this is all from one seed, the very first seed. You plant those 86,000 seeds, you get 924,500,000 apples. So what's going on from one seed all the way to the last number? It's a lot of multiplication there. So let's translate that to leadership. What is your seed as a leader? What if one seed is a minute? Service to others, kindness, support, training, motivation, knowledge. What is that seed that you can plant within you to improve, evolve, advance, and your teammates? That's called kind of the planting seed impact. What seed are you planting? And make it a challenge. Once a month, I plant this type of seed with my team, with myself. Maybe your team needs training, and to commit to that training, not your seed, to multiply them. How about for you? What are you doing to improve? So I want you to think about that. Last, are you truly bringing value to your team? Because leadership is not about you, it's about the people in front of you. So that's why you need to be 100%. Mindset and body. Bringing value. Here's some ideas. Making sure that you and your team understand Leadership and moving projects, tasks, getting to your goals is about privilege. It's not a problem. So I always ask leaders, is leadership a privilege or a problem in your organization? A privilege or a problem in your organization? I want you to think about that. Is leadership a privilege or a problem? You leading that, remember, everyone's a leader, but you're the primary leader. You leading that culture piece, meaning behaviors, expectations, attitudes, beliefs. You leading that culture of everything's a privilege here, not a problem. Yes, we identify problems, but we don't camp out with them. As soon as we identify the problem, we start solving it. That's where all of our time goes. Next, leadership is deep human work. We have to remember about the humans. So here's an example. Typically, and I did this early in my career, and when I matured, developed, became better with my leadership, I did it differently. So sometimes we have problems with employees, or we call them teammates, associates. First, before we start thinking they're slackers or whatever their problem is, let's check to see if we have systems in place that are really effective. Maybe it's the system. Maybe they can't work within a broken system. That's a different way of thinking, shifting our leadership thinking. So check your systems first. If they're working, then work with the human, the teammate. But remember, leadership is deep human work. Sometimes people are going through a divorce. Maybe someone died in their family. There's situations every day. Life happens. And we have to remember that when we're working with people. Hey, I notice your production isn't X, Y, and Z. Is something okay? Is there something I can help you with to get back on track? Instead of going in there, what is your problem? You're a slacker. Get your stuff together. Yada, yada, yada. That's not going to help. Find out if there's a problem first and fix it with them. Remember, leadership is deep human work. Next, getting uncomfortable. That's how you grow. We have to get uncomfortable to be comfortable. So we're always doing that, going from uncomfortable to comfortable. We do our work, and then we become uncomfortable again. We set ourselves up again to be comfortable. We stay there, do our work. Then we repeat the cycle. The infinite game. We're always chasing comfort, but we got to go through uncomfortable. Next, practicing courageous leadership. I work with a lot of leaders, and I really want to call them scaredy cat leaders, but I don't. You should be in leadership and be scared. There was a trend about 10, 15 years ago where a lot of leaders were, I don't want to make decisions because if I make the wrong decision, then it's going to come back on me. Yeah. Part of your leadership is making decisions. You gather the best information possible, quantitative and qualitative, and you make the call. You take the shot. Don't be scared to make decisions. As long as 85 to 90% of your decisions are positive and productive, you're okay. If it's the opposite, you got a problem with your decision making. But don't be afraid. You have to be a courageous leader. When good is good, it's comfortable. When leadership is bad, now it's uncomfortable. You have to step up and make decisions. You want your team to see you as that step up lady, that step up guy, a leader they can trust, leader they can see leading us. Then lastly, another great leadership reset, taking care of your mentals and your teammates' mentals. That's just kind of a quick statement, meaning your mental health. Taking care of your mentals. Leadership is situational. It's high stress. It's go, go, go. There's very few times it's slow, 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 but it's mostly go, go, go. And you have to be, again, mindset 100%, body 100%. And it's just fast paced. And it's deep human work. What are you doing for your mentals? Are you taking time off when you need? Are you exercising? Please, if you're not, do it. Exercise, keep that body moving. A body in motion stays in motion. You want that to have that longevity in your lifetime. What else are you doing for your mentals? Are you running, jogging, walking, listening to jazz music, biking? What is your hobby? What is your happiness that you can go to? Maybe it's going into the garage and building something. Maybe it's spending time with your kids. Maybe it's taking a family on a vacation. What is it that you can just push that stress, have it melt off your body? That's critical to be a strong leader. So I encourage you, how are you bringing value? And these are some ideas. All right, I started with the Gino Auriemma level practice. I want you to go back and listen to this. It will be out there on many platforms, and take some notes. Remember, you always want to practice at the highest level. And then I talked about 3 areas: identifying habits, identifying hidden leadership habits keeping you and your team stuck. I gave you some ideas. I talked about the emotional intelligence piece, the 5 components, gave you an example with Bubba Wallace, and also practical ways to reset your leadership approach. This whole thing was the great leadership reset. Again, it's critical as leaders that you take time every 3 months and reset your leadership by conducting a leadership audit. What's working, what's not working, what needs immediate attention. You can use those 3 questions, create your own. In between those 3 months, reflect every week. So you're refining, refining, refining. You always want to do that as a leader. That's what strong, smart, effective leaders do. Reflect, get to the 3rd month. Okay, let's do a leadership reset. This way you're at the highest level. You're at the highest level of proficiency, mastery. You want to be that leader that shines. There's a concept out there called the lighthouse concept. I like to transition it to a lighthouse leader. So a lighthouse, we know, is right there on the coast. I used to live in New London, Connecticut, right there on the Atlantic Ocean, right there on the coast. And about 200 yards off the shore was a lighthouse. So sometimes lighthouses are on shore, right on the edge, or a couple hundred yards in the ocean. And that light spins around, and the ships look for that light to guide them into the harbor. And you want to be that leadership, that lighthouse leader, where you are shining, you're bright, and you're guiding your team into the task, into the project, toward the goal. You want to be that lighthouse leader. Now, that doesn't mean you do all the work, though. That means you co-create with your team, you let them shine, you shine also, so all of you are guiding each other, and you're moving towards that common goal. All right, some final things here. You see the clock here. I'm going to challenge you to be that now leader. Grab one thing. I gave you a lot tonight. I gave you a lot. I promised I'd be 30 minutes. I'm at 42 minutes. I get out of hand sometimes. I gave you a lot. Just grab one thing. What's that one thing you can use within your leadership that can help you, again, advance, evolve, improve, move forward better as a leader? Reflect every week, every 3 months, do a leadership reset. Be that now leader. I'm challenging you right now. And I'll enlarge this so you can see this. Here's your moment of Zen. Make sure that what you chase in life is worth dying for. Be careful about chasing that money. You would rather be rich with your health, rich with your parenting, rich with your wife or husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, rich in overall relationships. If you get into the happiness research, the number one thing, I did the homework for you, the number one thing that lifts your spirit to make it the happiest are positive relationships with family, friends, with loved ones. So be sure what you're chasing is worth dying for. Don't go crazy chasing the money, folks. I did that early too in my career, had some health issues. It's not worth it. I'd rather be rich in those other areas, rich with my health, rich with my relationships. That money's going to be there. If you work hard, the money's going to come. All right, thank you. I do a lot of consulting now that I'm retired superintendent. I'm out there mostly in Arizona. I do some other states. I want to do more things in other states. I do organizational training, inspirational speaking, leadership development. You can scan me right there and set up a discovery call where we just talk it out. Tell me what you need help with. We'll set up a partnership and make things happen. My email's right there. My website's right there. My website is perkup-you.com. My email, drperkins@perkup-you.com. Thank you so much. Be that now leader. Grab one thing. Remember, what you do not change, you choose. I know you're working your butts off. Hopefully you didn't take it as me beating you up. I'm just trying to build you up today. So again, what you don't change, what you choose, what did I say? What you change, I messed it all up. But anyways, captains out there, make it happen. Thank you for your hard work. Grab one thing tonight and run with it to improve your leadership. Everyone, thank you so much. I'll see you soon.